Ladies and gentlemen, in the grand theater of human folly, few acts rival the spectacle of governments pouring fortunes into schemes that sound like they were scripted by a committee of over-caffeinated schoolboys. Today on the Stateless Standard, we unearth one such gem from the annals of absurdity: Operation Acoustic Kitty. Yes, you heard that right, a CIA plot to turn the humble house cat into a furry James Bond. Because naturally, when you're locked in a global staring contest with the Soviets, nothing says strategic genius quite like wiring up whiskers for wiretapping. Buckle up for a tale that's equal parts educational and eyebrow-raising, clocking in at just 5 minutes of your precious time. Let's pounce in. To set the stage, we must rewind to the Cold War, that deliciously paranoid ballet between the United States and the Soviet Union, where every shadow hid a double agent, and innovation in espionage was less about brilliance and more about desperation. It was the 1960s, a time when the CIA's Directorate of Science and Technology, those mad scientists in lab coats, spared no expense in dreaming up gadgets to eavesdrop on the enemy. Enter Operation Acoustic Kitty, launched around 1962, and shrouded in the kind of secrecy that makes Area 51 look like an open house. The objective? Equip ordinary cats with state-of-the-art surveillance gear to slink undetected into forbidden zones like the Soviet compound in Washington, D.C., and capture whispers of world-ending plots. How delightfully feline, silent, stealthy, and utterly indifferent to human drama. One might almost admire the poetry if it weren't so predictably doomed. Ah, the technical wizardry, or should I say, whiskery? The CIA's boffins spent years miniaturizing microphones, battery packs, radio transmitters, and even antennas, all small enough to implant surgically into a cat's body without turning it into a walking Frankenstein's pet. Picture this: a tiny mic tucked behind the ear for crystal-clear audio pickup, a transmitter nestled in the abdomen to beam signals back to handlers, and an antenna cleverly disguised as, well, part of the tail, naturally. Batteries were sewn into the chest cavity, wired to the nervous system for power. Because why not make the poor creature's heartbeat double as a charger? Training followed. Months of behavioral conditioning to teach these aloof aristocrats of the animal kingdom to ignore distractions like birds, belly rubs, or the inexorable call of a sunbeam. One can only imagine the classified memos. Subject Feline 07 exhibits promise in loitering drills, but remains stubbornly adverse to mission briefings. It was, in the driest terms, an engineering marvel married to a biological disaster waiting to happen. And so, after untold hours of R&D, the big test arrives in 1967. Our star operative, a nondescript tabby, no doubt selected for its Oscar-worthy disdain, is released from a parked van, just blocks from the Soviet embassy. The plan? Saunter nonchalantly to a park bench where diplomats might gossip, plant its enhanced ears, and relay the dirt. Handlers huddle in radio vans, hearts pounding with the thrill of spycraft. What could go wrong? As it turns out, everything. Barely a paw out of the bag, the cat veers off script, straight into the path of an oncoming taxi. Thwack. One flattened feline, mission aborted, and a gaggle of stunned agents left to scrape up the remnants of their dignity. In a stroke of irony sharper than a switchblade, the very instincts that made cats ideal spies, curiosity, independence, proved their undoing. The driver, oblivious, simply drove on, perhaps muttering about damn strays. The aftermath, a post-mortem as humiliating as it was expensive. The operation, which had already hemorrhaged an estimated $20 million, equivalent to over $150 million today, was unceremoniously shelved by 1967. Further tests confirmed the obvious. Cats, bless their chaotic souls, were about as reliable as a chocolate teapot. The CIA buried the files under layers of red tape, only declassifying whispers of the fiasco decades later. One can't help but chuckle at the bureaucratic understatement in the reports. The environmental and security factors in using this technique in a real foreign situation would not only be impractical, but nearly impossible. Indeed. Yet, in the grand ledger of taxpayer follies, Acoustic Kitty stands as a testament to unchecked hubris. Millions flushed on a whim, all because someone in Langley thought, hey, cats have 9 lives, what's one more experiment? In the end, Operation Acoustic Kitty endures not as a triumph of ingenuity, but as a cautionary farce, a reminder that even the mightiest empires trip over their own tails when blinded by paranoia. It sparks questions worth pondering, ethical qualms over animal conscripts aside, about the perils of bloated bureaucracies chasing shadows at any cost. Today, we spy from the stars with drones and satellites, far removed from such quaint capers. But as you watch a stray cat cross your path, spare a dry smile. It might just be a retired agent, ear intact, plotting its next nap. If this blend of history and hilarity piqued your interest, subscribe to the Stateless Standard for more tales of governmental grandeur gone awry, and comment below. What's the most absurd spy gadget you've heard of? Share the video, stay skeptical, and remember, curiosity killed the cat, but bureaucracy buried the operation. Until next time.